Coming up on the Musashi X Chronicles.
Hey, Lilac. How come George doesn't want to hang out with us?
He said he had some work to do.
He's probably just scared of getting cooties. Cooties?
When certain video game franchises become so famous, people will go out of their way to express their fandom. Whether by making remixes of favorite video game tracks and put them on sites like Overclock Remix, or they'll go one step beyond by using various types of game studio software, taking assets of already pre-existing games, and make them into fan games that people can play over the internet. However, these fan games will come off as mostly unknown, and the only way for people to actually know about these in the first place is either through word of mouth through friends, going through sites like Newgrounds, or going through the gaming news sites like Kotaku. Eventually, these fan-made developers would actually turn their hobby into something more practical, like turning it into a business. And with the turn of the 7th generation consoles like the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, so will the rise of independent game developers. However, unlike fan-made games, they cannot use pre-existing assets, as it could mean copyright infringement, and most likely a possible lawsuit. And I don't think anybody would want either one of those. But they can use gameplay elements that are inspired by said games, and to make them more original. And people would actually play them like in sites like, say, either Steam, or Xbox Live, or the PlayStation Network. And what better way to start this video off than reviewing a game from Steam. Now, this particular Steam game was originally meant to be a fan game based on the speedy gameplay of a certain blue blur, but eventually went on to make an identity for itself. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world of Freedom Planet.
To be honest, I never really heard of this game until a review back in December 2015, done by Some Call Me Johnny, when he stated that Freedom Planet is indie developer GalaxyTrail's take on a Sonic-style platformer with high-speed gameplay. In fact, the game was originally meant to be a Sonic fan game that would join the ranks in events like the Sonic Amateur Games Expo or Sonic Hacking Contest. But the developers realized it has more potential in being more than what was originally conceived, by adding in gameplay mechanics that are inspired by other classic Sega Genesis games and compound them with the existing speedy gameplay and have the game establish a name for itself. The game was released on Steam around July 2014, though I only played the demo in 2015 and again in January 2016 during the second year of PAX South, as I wasn't logged on that much in Steam due to my PlayStation Network backlog. I never really got around playing the game in full force until around late fall of 2016, in order for me to get the most updated version of the game. The plot is mostly minuscule, but rather than telling the full story, I'll give out the plot synopsis the best way I can. In a planet called Avalis, inhabited by anthropomorphic humanoid animals, there exists a huge orb called the Kingdom Stone, a relic possessing enormous power that brings unity to all nations in the planet. But that all suddenly changes when an alien warlord named Arctivus Brevin invades Avalis in order to steal the relic for himself, by first invading a kingdom called Shuigang, where he decapitates its ruler and brainwashes the crown prince to do his bidding. Another alien named Torque is well aware of Brevin's motives and makes a mad dash to Avalis, though when you start the game, his spacecraft gets shot down. However, 3 protagonists, Sash Lilac, Carol T, and later in the story, Mila Bassett, would eventually get caught up amidst the chaos, find Torque, who warns them that the Kingdom Stone will eventually be stolen from the planet, which did happen when an assassin named Spade flies off with it. The girls later agreed that they'll help Torque retrieve the Kingdom Stone and save the planet, but as the journey goes, they'll have some run-ins with other characters in the game such as the obnoxious Mayor Zhao of Shangmu, or General Gong and Chief Nero Li of Shangtu, as both kingdoms are butting heads for the right to have the Kingdom Stone, and it's up to the girls and Torque to set things right and unite the kingdoms. The overall tone of the story is quite bipolar, for a lack of a better term. What I mean by that is that the game starts off with the Shuigang King having his head sliced off by Brevin, to having lighthearted moments like the girls hanging out and watch a movie, then back to the ensuing chaos, then a feast at Shangmu, and then it's all seriousness from here on out. The story is by no means deep, but it's not that bad either. And despite the tone being bipolar, at the end of the day, the objective is just get the relic back, stop the villain, unite the 3 kingdoms, and save the world. The voice acting is very superb, and they fit the characters' personalities very well, like how Lilac is sounding cool and heroic, or how overly hyper and psychotic Serpentine can be. All the voice actors done a wonderful job, especially Xander Barriga, the voice of Brevin, as he performed it so well to make the character more menacing in hindsight. The use of 16-bit Genesis-style graphics are no doubt inspired by Sonic the Hedgehog, from the level design to the sprites. But the fluid animation of the sprites, not to mention how they animate beautifully at 60 frames per second, also feels like you're playing Sonic CD all over again. It's also worth noting that the use of color in every stage made the game so rich and vivid. The gameplay of Freedom Planet is inspired by multiple franchises like Sonic, Rocket Knight, Mega Man X, and the amount of wicked chase sequences and explosions inspired by shooter games like Treasure's Radiant Silvergun or Cave's Dodonpachi. The speedy gameplay comes into play when you either go down slopes when need to, activating a character's signature ability, or you find yourself in a sequence that's deemed situational. Unlike most platformers, you don't take damage by enemy collision. Instead, similarly to Metal Slug, enemies will have to attack you first to take damage, thereby giving you time to either defend yourself or just simply make a run for it. You can select to start the game as either Adventure or Classic mode, the latter of which is just each character going to their respective adventure routes, bypassing any cutscenes from Adventure mode. Of the 4 characters, at least on the latest version that I'm playing, only the girls have adventure modes, as Torque, who's unlocked after defeating the adventure modes of the girls, is only available to play in time attack mode. Though I've seen some people posting videos of them modding the game to see hidden things that are not in the latest update. Sash Lilac is your speed character and the one that I love playing the most. She has basic melee attacks, has a Cyclone double jump that also serves as an attack, and an ability called Dragon Boost that can make her blaze through anything so fast and can be launched in any direction except straight up or straight down. For whatever reason, I do not know. Dragon Boost can drain the special meter when full, and while it can regenerate itself, there are times that I would often mistime the boost when I wanted to check out a suspicious area or aim at a specific weak point of a boss. I also have to remind myself that even though she goes fast with the Dragon Boost, Lilac is not Sonic. I mean heck, because the game was originally meant to be a Sonic fan game, her original design looks very Sonic-esque before settling with the final design. Though I didn't take her species being a dragon seriously at first. But then the JRPG series Lunar taught me otherwise, that not all dragons can appear threatening as many would assume. Carol T is the fighter. While not fast like Lilac, which is odd considering that she's a wildcat, she has faster attack movements, and by holding the special attack button, she can unleash a barrage of lightning kicks, making her this game's Chun-Li. She can also scale walls like in Mega Man X. Occasionally you can find red gas containers that, if touched, you can have access to her motorcycle, which you can use to ram through weaker enemies, can do a double jump that does damage, and can scale walls without needing to press the jump button. Unfortunately, the bike's durability is not so great, so you can expect to lose it in the worst ways possible, and her special meters charge slower than Lilac's. On the flip side, she's better for boss battles and can bypass any enemy fire with her lightning kicks due to high invincibility frames. Mila Bassett plays the defensive game, Taking time with her is necessary as she can't perform any melee attacks and has the lowest HP. Her main method of attack is creating green cubes that slowly materialize and you can throw it on enemies. She can deflect certain enemy fire, sometimes back at them, and she can perform Phantom Shield Burst by pressing the special button while carrying a green cube, but doing so can cause recoil. Though she can gain some running speed with the recoil if you know where to aim the shield burst just right. She has no need for a special bar given that she can create cubes infinitely, and by holding the jump button, she can briefly flap her arms and ears, allowing her short flight to reach higher areas. In past versions, she only has one stage, Aqua Tunnel, that's available after stage 4 through either Lilac or Carol's story routes, but in the current version, she can be playable anywhere. Many considered her the hard mode due to her handicaps no matter the difficulty setting. Commander Torque, in time attack only, has a more strategic approach as he fights with long-range weaponry. When you select a stage, you're given options to choose what 3 special weapons to bring before you start the stage. Though you do have a pistol with infinite ammo, and he has jet boots that allows him to fly in any direction for a short period of time. Unfortunately for him, he also has the same HP limit as Mila, and he's not as fleshed out as the girls are. There was supposed to be DLC for Spade to make him available, but sadly got scrapped. Although there are some people that actually did some modding to make him playable. He mostly specializes in using throwing cards as weapons, making him this game's Gambit from X-Men, minus the kinetic energy. Each of the girls has to go through 12 stages, and they are very long, usually takes around an average of 12 to 14 minutes to complete. But if you know how to exploit the girls' abilities, you can blaze through them without further problems. Every single stage have awesome music that after I completed the game, I went out of my way to get the soundtrack for how great it is, using pop-style tracks that early Genesis games used back in those days. And I guess it's safe to assume that the crew at GalaxyTrail are big fans of Sega. There are various elemental shields that can help you in certain situations like in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, such as a shield that helps you breathe underwater, or have a shield that actually protects you against spikes. The game starts off easy enough, but the difficulty spike only accelerates after the first 4 stages, when enemies will do everything in their power to ambush you. Since you only take damage when they attack you, you can use this chance to attack them back with your different moves. You can regain HP by collecting red leaves, but if you're fully maxed out, the red leaves you collect will instead be crystals that you can collect, which not only fills your special meter quickly, but by collecting 200 crystals will net you an extra life. Which really isn't that necessary considering that you do have infinite continues, unless you really want to try for that no death run achievement. Which is hard enough for me as it is, even when I've gotten so far due to my sudden overconfidence that gets the better of me. As fun and high octane the stages are, the adrenaline rush comes from the bosses themselves. Like in any Sonic or Mega Man game, it's all about trial and error on what attacks the bosses will unleash and when to see an opening to strike their weak points. Usually with Lilac, I use the invincibility from her Dragon Boost, while with Carol, I have an easier time than Lilac because of her lightning kicks. As for Mila, it's mostly experimenting with which projectile she can deflect and when to aim your shield. If your reflexes are slow, you'll be buying the farm in a matter of seconds. But if you know when to attack at the right moment, that epic slowdown, inspired by Mega Man X while defeating a Maverick, will make everything in this game all worthwhile. So much love and dedication was placed into this game that it made me smile so much on how detailed this game is, and it gives the adrenaline feel that I had when I played my old Genesis games in my childhood. It gives players like myself plenty of ways to experiment on assessing the situation and how to go about it, or just simply explore new areas that I might have passed by in order to discover something new, giving it high replay value.
The overall presentation of this game is simply beautiful. From the gameplay to the Genesis style graphics to the music, this is one game that should not be missed at all, and I could definitely recommend this to a lot of people. It's available right now on Steam for $15, but there's also a possibility of a PS4 release real soon. So I guess I'll eventually get that version soon. And if you have the extra $7 to spare, I recommend downloading the soundtrack because the music is beautifully composed and definitely worth listening to. My final score for this one, definitely going to be a perfect 10 for me. I'm actually looking forward to GalaxyTrail's next venture into Freedom Planet. This past January in PAX South, I actually played the demo of Freedom Planet 2. Yes, that's right folks, Freedom Planet 2 is lit and the demo looks so phenomenal. You can actually download it now on their website. And I will actually feature that in a segment of my channel called Trials, where I showcase demos of upcoming games, as well as giving out news of video games of what's to come. Well, this wraps up this review, and I wonder how Sonic got here. You know, what the heck. Seeing as how Freedom Planet was originally meant to be a Sonic fan game, I figured that for the next review, I'll actually do my first review marathon. Or rather, a series of Sonic the Hedgehog game marathons from time to time. All while counting down the days to the upcoming Sonic Mania. I've seen the trailer of Sonic Mania. It looks very fantastic, going back to its 2D roots. And you can be sure I'll also review that game as well. And I also went out of my way to pre-order the collector's edition as well. So, for the next review, I'll be doing the first Sonic the Hedgehog marathon from the early Genesis games and the Sega CD. In the meantime, this has been Musashi X. I bid you all farewell, and take care.